Hi everybody, so today is really exciting because today I'm going to tell you 10 things that every person should know before they move to Australia. And if you are already there and you're like, oh no, don't worry, I'm going to clue you in and let you know what's up. So if you see me look down, it's because I want to make sure I cover all 10 things, so let's get started. Number 1, Australia is extremely hot. When I say it's hot, I'm talking 40 plus degrees Celsius. So if you are not fortunate enough to get a place that is like next to the beach where you can go and surf and lay in the sun and sunbathe, just be prepared for extremely hot weather because it does get really hot. The other thing is that in tying in with that, a lot of places that you will go to, like restaurants and bars and pubs, don't actually have air conditioning inside or outside, obviously. So you're gonna be there and you're gonna be like, oh my god, it's so hot. And the way people cool down is with a beer. So grab a beer, put up your feet if the bar allows, and cool down with some of that. Number 2, Australia actually does get pretty cold. While the winters are windy and rainy, there are parts of Australia that get snow, and I didn't even know that. I know there's an area called the Snowy Mountains, which is covered in snow, like it's artificial stuff and people go there, but there are actually small parts of the province or state of New South Wales and Victoria where there's snow. Most people probably didn't know this, just like myself, and you don't really get like the cold down winds or anything like that. So I don't know. I guess it happens and no one really notices. So sorry, snow. Number 3. While it does get hot and cold in Australia, the thing that really sets this place apart, this giant island, beautiful continent and island, is that it's extremely humid. And when I say humid, I'm talking about like 70, 80, 60, 90% humidity through both the summer and the winter. So if you have any allergy problems, you are going to find that they might get a little bit worse because of the humidity, which apparently is a thing, and I didn't really know about it until I moved there. Anyways. So it does get really humid. So the thing you want to do is make sure you go and buy a dehumidifier if you have the money. If not, save up and get a dehumidifier, put it in your place, and you will be extremely thankful you did that because it will help you breathe in and out with a lot more ease. The number 4 thing that I want to talk about is that there are a lot of what are they called? They do some back burning in forests and things like that. And there are a lot of forest fires throughout Australia because it does get extremely hot to the point where there are fires in a lot of the foresty areas. And sometimes there's warnings that you shouldn't go out if you have breathing problems or asthma or things like that, because it can really influence your breathing, and the air is kind of dirty, and sometimes you can actually see it, you'll leave your house and be like, whoa. So be prepared for that. Make sure you have extra Ventolin or antihistamines and all those other funky things that you might need for allergies. Which is my 5th point, that apparently the dermatologist that I went to go and see told me that Australia has the highest allergen rate or something like that, that people who travel to Australia or visit find all their allergies flare up and they are using a lot of antihistamines. People have breathing problems, they get skin problems and things like that. I had some of those issues too, and I found that whenever I left Australia, they went away. The unfortunate thing is Australia is so beautiful that it doesn't make me want to leave. So there is so many different kinds of bugs and flowers and grasses and plants and animals that there's something that's gonna go and tickle your little allergy bone or part of body, and yeah, it's gonna leave you sneezing and phlegmy and stuff, which is just unpleasant. Anyways, number 6. Australia is extremely expensive. If you didn't know this already, you know it now and you are welcome. Everything is going to be way more expensive than you are used to paying. So try and accept it as soon as you can, because the sooner you accept it, the sooner your life becomes less stressful about that one thing. Once you start working and doing all those sort of things, it does become a lot easier to pay way more for a lot of things. But initially, you're gonna be like, what? I'm used to paying what? Like Arizona iced tea is like, if you can find it, is like $5. I mean, it's so delicious, but it's only supposed to say it's like it says on the can that it's 99 cents, but it's like $5 if you want to drink it in Australia. Number 7. Speaking of expensive, one of the most weirdest things that I found was that water is very expensive in Australia. So if you go and buy like a bottle of drinking water, obviously you're not going to buy a bottle of bathing water. But if you buy a bottle of drinking water, like a 1 liter for instance, is about $3 or $4, and like that's like their store brand. And if you are into like fancier stuff, it goes up to like $5 to $10 for a bottle of water. Now the funny thing is that if you buy a bottle of the local brand sparkling water, it's only 80 cents. So when I moved to Australia, I actually just started drinking sparkling water because it was so cheap. And the thing is, it's so hot that you can't help but want water. So it's a really sneaky little thing that they did. But unfortunately, I caught up with the program and just started drinking sparkling water. So the joke's on them because I still paid less than $1 for a liter of water. That's right. Okay, number 8. This thing was something that kind of like still bothers me to this day, which is that there aren't very many 24-hour stores. And most of us, like as North Americans, I think we are very spoiled with a lot of like accessibility. So if you're craving like chips at like 2 o'clock in the morning, or if your tummy's hurting, or if you just want gummy bears, or if you just want to go to Walmart and like be a goof with like the toys, you can't do that. There's no such thing as like a 24-hour superstore or anything like that. There are a couple pharmacies that are open like within the hospitals if you really need anything. But other than that, Australia expects you to sit at home, to buckle down, potentially have a beer, watch some TV, and go to bed. Okay, number 9. This is pretty important. Shipping anything to Australia is really, really expensive. So if you are using a brand of like makeup or clothing that you really like, just look into whether it's available in Australia. Ask your friends where they get it from. And if it's not available, take some extra stuff with you, because otherwise you're going to be paying so much more than the product is actually worth for just getting it shipped. There are like all these little companies that you can like go to, and websites where you can order a lot of products from, and I've done that, but they're still more expensive than I would pay for something in the States or in Canada. Finally, last but not least, number 10. I saved this because it's the most exciting. Australia actually celebrates Christmas in July. And no, this does not mean that Christmas does not happen in December, so you're okay with that. But they actually also celebrate it in July because that is when it actually gets really cold. So people do the whole Santa thing, they do the Christmas tree thing. There's holidays, people go away and have these dinners and all this sort of stuff. And it's a real thing. Now, I've heard of it, and I don't know if people celebrate this in other parts of the world, but it does happen in Australia. It's extremely common. It's so cool. It's so much fun. So that's something to look forward to in the middle of the year, literally, to get to celebrate Christmas after like half the year's over, and then you get to have Christmas again in the summer. So there's 2 Christmas 2 Christmases in Australia. So those were my 10 interesting things that every person should know before they move to Australia. Hopefully I'm able to help you guys out. If you have any questions, please leave them down below. If you found any of these 10 tips informative, please give this a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, share, and do all those funky things that warm up my heart more than Australia. And until next time, know that I'm so thankful to have you guys watch and keep up with all these tips, and I look forward to talking to you again. Bye.